How can you become a pro soccer player / footballer? This is going to be the Soccer Life Mastery podcast, or the Mastery Futsal Academy podcast, we should say. And there's no Ignacio. It's just myself, because we live too far away. Ignacio is still with us and still coaching, and everything. Nothing has changed. It's just we just have no time amongst doing 10 hours of video analysis and coaching every day and everything like that. So we're going to bring kind of a YouTube / podcast, where on YouTube I'll have a little presentation, nothing too pretty, but otherwise the podcast will remain, where we just have a little 10-minute spiel about what I'm talking about now with the Mindset Masterclass, Tactical Masterclass, or whatever else we want to talk about, everything football related. So let's crack on straight away. So how can you become a footballer? The ones listing right now. So for me, I have a little 2-part or 3-part system, where step 1 is just become as good as possible, as quickly as possible. It's your only job. It's number 1 priority, especially if you are 16 years and younger. You got nothing to worry about besides get good at football. And there's 4 parts of being a footballer. One is your technical side. So improve your 1v1s. And then within that bracket, 1v1s with the player behind you. 1v1s with lots of space. 1v1, but technically there's 2 or 3 players around you in a tight area. That's some parts about 1v1. And so there's also shooting. Shooting from what distance? Shooting with inside your foot. Shooting from on an awkward angle. How do I shoot far post? From far out, maybe I can improve how I can chip the keeper. Can I improve my shooting against a keeper, 1v0 against a keeper? There's often times one-on-one against a keeper, people miss. But then those advanced plays, maybe fake the shot, dribble pass, and score. So there's 4 brackets in terms of technical, tactical, physical, mental. But then within that bracket, there's even more subsets. So technical, there's 4 core skills: shooting, passing, first touch, dribbling, running with the ball. And once again, I just showed within that 1v1 bracket, there's so many more brackets within that bracket. And I could have let's actually write that. So for example, 1v1, then there's 1v1 in space, then there's in tight areas, then there is player behind you. So 1v1, and you're trying to player behind you, you're trying to turn and score, for example. So you can see within technical, there's 1v1. But within 1v1, there's all these brackets. And let me show on the Soccer Life Mastery web page, our academy page, we do have, we kind of highlight our curriculum, and we're working on trying to execute that curriculum better and better. We're actually going to be sending out a feedback form on what we can do better, because I want to make sure our programs are as good as possible. But for the ones that are overseas and just listen to the podcast, this is kind of the general idea of what we want to do with our curriculum. So, for example, our 10-week cycle, we have shooting, we have a laces power shot. This is all in the technical bracket. So we have technical skills, and then within that bracket, there's 1v1 shooting, passing, etc. We've got laces shot, we've got turning and shooting, we have inside placement shot, we have shooting from across, we have headering, we have receiving and shooting on a full sprint. So there may be instances you're making a big long run in behind the defenders and you're receiving a full sprint. How can you shoot on that full sprint? Then there's controlling a ball that's in an air. Can I quickly control and shoot? There's shooting under pressure. So there's shooting with players chasing you, there's shooting with players trying to tackle you, where there's a centre back and I'm the striker and I'm getting tackled, but can I quickly get that shot off? Then there's free kicks, there's penalties. So there's so many brackets within the brackets of the bracket. I know, inception. And for example, for our passing and first touch curriculum, we've got back foot control. We have receiving on the half turn. So can I turn with my first touch? We have just a simple set touch. So like a bounce. So how good is my first time bounce? Does it bobble in the air? Does it go where I want? Do I have the weight of pass? Hitting and receiving a long pass. So hitting a really high long pass and receiving that long pass. That's a different type of pass in first control. Then there's a curving long pass. So maybe like Kevin De Bruyne is a great example. Outside of his foot, he passes and it curves right onto his foot. That's another type of first touch passing technique. And then there's receiving and passing at full sprint, similar to shooting. Like, for example, you're sprinting and sprinting and sprinting. Like I said, that Kevin De Bruyne through ball, how good can you receive that pass at full sprint, or do you struggle? Can you only receive when you're standing still and the ball comes straight to you? Receiving under pressure away from the defender. So there's a defender behind you, or even actually there's a player, you receive the ball, and there's a player screaming at you, like running straight at you. Can you be cool under pressure? He's running at me. Doesn't matter. I take my first touch past that player. Actually, let's make this YouTube video even better. So if you're listening to the podcast, I suggest going to YouTube. We're going to use like tactics boards. We're going to use little demonstrations on web pages and things like that. For example, what I mean by that, receiving away from pressure. Your teammate bounces you the ball. As that ball's coming, this guy is screaming right at your face. And can you take that first touch past that player and then continue to dribble rather than freaking out and losing the ball? Another one is receiving with a player behind you. So your teammate passes you the ball. Your first touch, are you able to take that first touch away and pass the defender behind you? So there's so many things that you need to work on, which is why it's important to set yourself a plan or join an academy which is going to cover all these bases. So as a parent, you may not even know or understand the curriculum that we're teaching, and you might think it's a chaotic mess. There is method to the madness. And so that's only 2 subsections. There's also dribbling with the ball. So there's ball mastery, having just quick ability to have the ball under any pressure. I can, whatever I want to do with the ball, my body allows me to do that. Where you have some players who lack that ball mastery and they want to do something with the ball, but their body just can't do it. They haven't got that ability. There's dribbling at space, so sprinting into space with that ball. There's dribbling in tight areas in the midfield where there's a million people around you. There's dribbling and being able to do quick, sharp changes of direction, whether it is dribbling, and a 45-degree change, which is more associated with 1v1. So for here, 45-degree turn, bang, I can go past the player. Then there's turning. So cool. Once again, either I've got the ball here and I'm in danger, so I'm going to be able to do a 180-degree turn and face the other way. Or there's a player behind me, and am I good enough to do a 180-degree turn and get past the player? Or even without a player. That's dribbling. 1v1s, we mentioned a 50-50 challenge, where there's a ball between me and the opposition. Who's going to get there first? Who can beat the player, etc. What I like to use is the Maradona in a 50-50, because if you can't get there first, but you might be able to get there first, reaching out with that foot and then spinning is a very good way to get to the ball first and actually beat the player too. So there's all these things that you have to be working on. And mind you, this is just technical. As we mentioned, there is also what? There's physical, there's tactical, there's mental. So the tactical side is often what we do with the video analysis and using this tactical board as well, teaching about football. But you can also at home watch football, learn about football, watch this YouTube video, watch other people's YouTube videos, learn about football, because it's so clear on game days where you see a player and they are lost. They don't know what to do when they have a ball. And actually screenshotting this little this little photo right here may do you some really good in terms of learning, just about decision making. Okay, does your team have the ball? Okay, what do you do? Do you have the ball? What do you do? You have the ball when there's an opponent in front of you. What should you do? You have the ball when there's no opponent in front of you. What should you do? There's always an answer. But if you've never studied it, how are you meant to know? Same way if you don't study maths, you don't study English, you don't study whatever, you're not going to understand or know. So it's so important to study and learn. And if you don't, someone else will, and that player will take your spot in terms of becoming a pro footballer. So if you want to become the 1% of 1%, you have to do what no one else is doing. To become the 1% player, you must do what the 1% of people are doing. If you just want to rock up to training twice a week, congrats, you're just going to be like every other player. You're going to be like 99% of players. So you're not going to be in that 1%. Okay, does that make sense? And it's important to educate about this, because it's up to you. You might go, man, that is too much work, and I don't care about being a footballer enough to be doing that work. 100%. Totally understand. Totally agree. Totally fine. But for the players that do really want to go pro, and they just never realize the amount of work they had to do, I'm here to help you, here to teach you. 1% of people go pro. Less than 1% probably. And it's up to you to become that 1%. No one else can do it for you. I'm here to help you and guide you. I eventually want to be managing players, having an agency, developing players and then giving them pathways and managing their careers. That's my goal. That's what I want to do. And a part of that is educating you and mentoring you about these things. So far, we've only covered 2 tactical spots. And we haven't even gone down in the tactics part. There's learning about your position. There's learning about, okay, when the centre mid, if I'm the striker and the centre midfield has the ball, where should I go? Okay, I'm the striker and the winger has the ball. What movement should I make? Okay, the ball gets switched from one side to the other side. Now, what should I do? There's always an answer. It's just whether you know it or not. Does that make sense? There's always an action in football, and then you have to react and make a separate action that is either going to be good for your team or bad for your team. Either one, you're going to make an action. But the more times you make a good action is when you'll become a better player, get better results, and become that 1% of people that want to become a pro footballer. Okay, so it's so important for you to understand that there are levels to this game. There is kicking a ball, being skillful, congrats. You've got one part of the game. Okay, there's players that are absolutely talented. They have the technical ability, and they're fast, and they're strong, and they're powerful, and they're fit, and they're a machine. But there's nothing up here. And then they're not going to become that 1% of people. There are people who are super smart, super tactical, but they're slow, they're unfit, and then they struggle. And they're not going to make it. There are people who have got all 3. They are talented in terms of their skills. They practice their skills. They can 1v1. They can hit a pass. They got a great first touch. They can dribble. They are smart. They know what to do. They're fast. They're fit. They're strong. But mentally, they're not there. In terms of they don't have the desire to improve. They don't have the desire to go the extra mile. They're not going to try to do the extra things. Or they're not going to even have the mental strength to overcome maybe one little injury. Or maybe they're so good that they go up a division. They get scouted. But maybe, they're just not quite there yet. So they bench a couple games. And they don't know how to handle that. They've always been the best player ever. They don't know how to be on the bench. And they spit the dummy. Or they lose confidence because they've been on the bench a couple times. Well, congrats. You've gone up a division. You're leveling up. Some people can't handle that. Some people don't know how to handle that. And so once again, they're all 3, but they haven't got the 4th, so they don't make it. They got to first division. They were so close, but they didn't know how to handle not being the best, for example. So you need all 4. Or another thing, they've got all 3, but they don't do the work in terms of injury prevention. The mental side goes in regards to your work ethic, doing the 1%ers. Can I be bothered stretching? Can I be bothered massages, doing foam rolling? Can I be bothered learning about some exercises to help my biomechanics? Because I might be someone who's got really weak hamstrings. I might be someone who's got sore knees every now and then. Am I doing the work to strengthen those knees? Am I doing the work to increase my mobility? It's up to you. But if you don't have the mentality of that, if you don't have the obsession to succeed, the obsession to get better, you've only got 3 parts of the 4-part recipe. And someone's going to have those 4 parts. And that means they're going to be better than you. So this is the reality. This is the main part. If you have this, then it's very easy to get the rest of it. If you are a sensational player that has all 4 parts, then all you have to do is ask someone like me, any coach, to say, hey, look, can I have a trial here? Can you get me into a training session? You could be 35 years old and you're the best player in the world. You're going to get picked up. They're going to say, yes, you're the best. The issue is people get these opportunities, but they're not the best. And so they go to these opportunities, they don't get picked, and they go, what's happened? This is priority. Becoming the best you can be as quickly as you can. If you are the best player possible, you're going to be successful. It just is. Coaches want the best players. You're going to be fine. The rest of it is just a couple phone calls. Going to, like, we're starting this Valencia trip. If you were the best player in the world, but no one knew you, then all you have to do is go to one trip, one experience, one trial, and you will be then known. But of course, you have to have that one opportunity. So, step 1, become as good as possible. And then for some God knows reason that no one knows how good you are, then you need to create an opportunity and then capitalize on that opportunity. Step 2 and step 3 can happen very quickly. A couple phone calls, done. One trip, done. But oftentimes you'll realize, okay, for example, this Valencia trip, you may go on this Valencia trip and you may realize you're not even close to being even nearly subpar to the players that are overseas. And so you're not going to make it. So step 1, don't need to worry about anything else besides improving your skills, your technical ability, improving your tactical ability, your physical ability, and your mental ability. If you want to become a professional player, those are the 4 things you must do. That's all there is to it. But becoming the best in these 4 categories is a whole different ballgame. That's hard work. That's having, great coaches around you. That's having the work ethic to train every day, the ability to look after your body even though you're training every day, and listening to your body saying, hey, look, I'm training every day, but this day I don't feel like it's going to be beneficial. I feel like I'm going to hurt myself. I feel like I'm so tired, I'm going to injure myself. I've got to have a day off. Being smart. Okay, I've got to rest. I've got to do recovery. I've got to stretch. I've got to do foam rolling. I can't train today. I have to take the day off. Managing injuries is very important as well, but that's a whole different topic. All right. So that's our general gist. These are probably going to be how the podcasts are going to be from now on. It's more up my alley, and it's easier for me. I don't need to travel an hour to do a podcast and take up my whole day. But when we do have a guest that someone wants to come on, we're going to go to an ASIO studio. It's going to be awesome. Great camera. It's not this laptop webcam. It's going to be better. But this is how the podcast will be for now. So yes, if you have any questions, if you have any topics you want to talk about, awesome. We've got some YouTube some ideas here in terms of tactical masterclass and learning about positions using this tactical board up here. Being able to show formations, showing positions, where you should be depending on who has the ball, the whole works. I'm here to try to help my academy players, but of course, the audience that are overseas and wherever else, here to help you. All right. And of course, take my information with a grain of salt. I only know what I know. I'm only sharing what I know. There's probably a billion other better coaches than me, for sure. I have no idea. But this is what I know. This is the information that I can give you. And I'm just here to help as much as I can, or as little as you think I am. All right. Cool. Easy enough. Thank you. Ta.